Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to get this video out for you guys a little bit earlier, like last week on like Thursday, or not Thursday, but like Friday. But it's actually my birthday, so well, yesterday, it's the 4th right now, but it was my birthday. I turned 25, so thank you for all the birthday wishes, guys. But yeah, we're just gonna be doing a trade recap today, and I'm gonna be covering how I made around 25k across my accounts. This was the main setup that I took, and yeah, man, it was one of the best setups for the quarter on gold, and I just thought that I would share with you guys the whole analysis, the whole rationale, and the understanding of why I took this trade, how to analyze the markets properly, and the same old that we usually do. So let's get into it, right? So basically this was last week. So as you can see, this was on the week of the 26th, and as you guys know, we always kind of want to put a marker at the start of every single week. And I want to be honest, the reason for the trade was really kind of starting for last week. Okay, and I'm going to kind of explain to you why. So this was a fundamental trade. This trade was based off of fundamentals and the narrative and understanding that basically because of the whole Strait of Hormuz being blocked with Trump, this is essentially going to cause inflationary risk into the economy, into the market, which is going to cause a de-incentivized reason to hold gold, and that's essentially kind of what happened, right? By Trump blocking the Strait of Hormuz, right? Essentially what that happens is that raises oil prices, because essentially you think about it as a supply demand problem, right? By cutting off the Strait of Hormuz, well, what happens? The supply of oil is going to decrease, so therefore the demand of oil goes up. And when that happens, prices essentially increase, which causes more inflationary risk in the economy. If oil goes up, everything else goes up. Okay, and it causes a downstream of inflationary effect into the economy, and obviously for a commodity like gold, which is a metal, it's gonna be higher inflationary risk, which is gonna cause investors to seek to sell their gold, and the algorithms and the institutions to sell their gold. And essentially that's what happened right here, right? When we kind of changed character on the higher time frame and closed below this low down here, and we had this kind of gap down, we were essentially just waiting for a gap fill, and then obviously after the gap got filled, seeing how the daily close looked, and then after the daily close end up closing again, we're just going to be arm short bias for the next couple days, for maybe the week, whatever. I actually missed this whole move, which is really sad on the first downtrend, on the down move, because my limit was a little bit higher. So my limit was actually at this level, like right around here. So I'm actually gonna mark this out. It was right around here, and it literally missed my limit by a couple ticks. So I had it around actually literally right here. So it literally missed my limit by a couple ticks and ended up having that move, which is unfortunate. It's fine. But yeah, essentially after we closed bearishly below gold on here, off below this low, we were arm bearish for literally every single day. And as you guys know, we have our tools to be able to catch our good entries, like our VWAP and our trend lines. So obviously as we close over here, we have a trend line forming like this, but mainly what we want to do is when we want to get our VWAP out, right? So I'm gonna put our VWAP right here like this. And as you can see, this is really fucking simple, guys. Pardon my language, but basically you sell at VWAP. It's literally that simple, because the algorithms and the institutions are just fundamentally going to be selling at that most optimal price point. It's that simple. So you see we have our VWAP taps here to this band, our VWAP taps here, and I actually did catch this trade, and I actually caught this one as well off understanding that, hey, we're just kind of hitting this trend line as well, and like the week before, so 2 weeks ago. But that was essentially the whole rationale on this trade, right? On this trade, we went for about like a 1-to-1, because we could only close like if stop loss was like right here, we could only, I got stopped at a 1-to-1 on this one, even though I was going for like a 1-to-2. So one of my rules is I move to break even, or excuse me, 1-to-1 in profit after I go to 1-to-2. So after we went like 1-to-2 right here, we retraced, hit 1-to-1 over here, and that was that. This trade was great. I actually closed for around a 1-to-4 on this one. Simply just got in around this area, like literally over here, like in this range, like this. And then, yeah, we caught that sell off. for like a 1 to 4. And then this, now we're just kind of getting into the main the main analysis and the main trade for what's been going on. So remember, we want to be able to analyze fundamentally what's happening week to week still. And this is why day trading in a sense is really good. And if you can get a good swing entry and the fundamentals still line up in your direction, it's really, really good because you can catch really, really high RR fundamental trades. Like for example, so let's say we were in this trade right here, right? If we were in this trade right here around this top, right, with the tight stop, whatever, well, we could just be adding, all these positions would just be adding positions, right? We'd be adding positions for our main target, our main external target, which is going to be the Sunday low, the most obvious low to take profit at, right? So let's say you took 2 scale-ins targeting this low. Well, if you were holding these trades, you'd be damn near getting a 30-40 R trade, right? And based on 5 much risk, that could be a shit ton of money. And that's why swinging is so important, especially when it's in line with the fundamentals, because when we opened up right here on Sunday, on Monday, right here, well, the straight is still blocked, guys. Okay, the strat is still blocked. So Trump is literally continuing to block the strat, and there's been no no what's the word I'm looking for, negotiations and no settlements for what he's been doing, right? So from this week open to here, this is like about a 4% drop, and we can kind of expect something similar for the next week, right? Because we didn't have that that announcement. And yeah, I mean, I'm monitoring the news very closely on Metals Mine, and I'm seeing like, hey, is there a settlement with the Stratoform moves being unblocked? Is something going on? And since there wasn't, well, we could still be short bias. And that's exactly what happened, right? So I caught actually the short again. I basically took a short off this level, off here, and then I took like a 1 to 4. And then, but this was the main play. So again, same old. What we want to do is we want to anchor our VWAP at the start of the weekly candle, and yeah, that's all that was. So we opened up here, we pushed up, we hit our VWAP, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to wait for a little bit more confirmation, and that's exactly what I did. So basically, once we started showing some bearishness, showing some down candles, and we kind of closed below this VWAP line, I just essentially sold. You can see in the picture as well over here, I sold at 4712.9. So 4712, let's see here, .9. So it was this 3-minute engulfing candle. That's really all I was looking for. Stop loss was above the high, pretty tight, and the target, the TP target, was all the way going to be minimum past the swing low. So for 1 to 12, really, like I usually going for that 1 to 12, 1 to 13. You don't want to go too crazy, but yeah, as you can see, this ran for 18R. Just a crazy simple fundamental trade. And after that, we could still be short biased. But understand that we still have to zoom out and look at our overall areas of higher of demand, of our higher time frame areas of supply and demand, because, well, understand that, like, even though we have a bias, right, once we hit institutional areas of supply and demand, well, that's going to cause profit taking and potential reversals, right? So if you go over here, you can see that once we make this low and we close, we still have a chance to keep going lower, which is what will happen. I didn't see any entries here, but obviously this is just continuing to sell off from the day before. But you can see that we have a reversal confirmation, a higher time frame divergence. So you can see we have a lower low right here, and then if we go over here, you could see we have a higher low right here. That's just one confirmation of our one reversal confirmation. But the biggest thing is from March 19th, this whole area was an area where there was extremely big limit buying. So there's a lot of absorption in general from these areas, and essentially they're being overall used as retest levels, right? Now, I did say beforehand, this move that happened over here was algorithmic. Okay, so if we go over here, you're gonna notice there's a wick right here, right? This little wick. Okay, this wick was an algorithmic front ran VWAP touch, because it was like literally to a tick, and it didn't really look like it filled that many orders. So mainly I wanted to see this low get reclaimed after it got made, and bro, it took literally fucking a month to get reclaimed. But this is our main algorithmic target, which was this low right here. And as you can see, after we took that low, we start filling the order book, and then we start reversing, which is what ended up happening. Now, I still am bearish. Now, the reason why is because I didn't like this VWAP tap. It was way too inefficient. So I do want to see another reclamation of their high being made, and then that sell-off to at least potentially take one more low out, depending on how. I have a couple other indicators you guys know to see, but again, the reason we're still short bias is because you know, the Stratopore moves is still being blocked, right? But you know, I will say that based off this range, you know, we don't want to be overextended with our short bias, even though it is still in effect, because that could be, you could be pricing that in right now, and once it's fully priced in, then prices are gonna revert, right? So I would say realistically, in this area down here, we want to look for potential buys, right? Higher time frame buys, and you know, that'll be aligned, because obviously the strat can't be closed forever, right? So they're going to come to a conclusion at some point, and that's going to be a catalyst to push price higher if it is in a premium zone in relation to this area, this swing leg, right? So great stuff so far. Great stuff so far. But yeah, that was essentially the trade, guys. Really nothing too crazy. Just literally understanding fundamentals, retraces to VWAP, and just selling. It's really that simple, guys. We didn't really make anything too complicated. And I don't want to make this video too long because, well, there's really nothing to cover, and there's really nothing to, no reason to make it so long. You know what I mean? So if it was like, if there was a reason to, you know, make a complex app, I'm gonna, you know, go in depth. But yeah, that was really the trade, guys. You know, we don't have to like that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, once you have the understanding and the experience of how this works, once you're aligned fundamentally, it's like super simple to make money, bro. Right? Obviously, when Trump is tweeting back and forth, right? You're having this move happen, this move, these whipsaws, right? Like, it could be hard to trade, which is why, you know, here and here were pretty hard days to trade. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? But there are ways to make money in these conditions. If you know, you know. I can't talk about that yet because for certain reasons. But yeah, that was essentially the trade, guys. And I hope this recap made sense. I, again, don't want it to be too long. If you have any questions, if the explanation wasn't to your liking, just drop a comment. I'll you know, I'll address your comment in another video or in my Discord. If you join the Discord as well, it's linked in the bio. And yeah, boys, let me know how you liked the video. All right, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'm still working on content in short form, trying to get it out for you guys in trade. It's a lot of work still. Takes a lot of my time up, but I'm really trying to lock in now and get some good value out for you guys. But I hope this made sense. But lessons to take away from this, okay? Number one, when there are fundamentals, you have to understand how the fundamentals affect whatever you're trading, okay? Go do a deep dive into the books, okay? How is gold affected? How is copper affected? Platinum, oil, Brent oil, crude oil, right? How is the NASDAQ affected, right? Really go in depth, and I've given you resources to go in depth, right? Number two is anchor your VWAP. Find your weekly VWAP, anchor it there, okay? At Monday open, 6 p.m. EST on Sunday, which is considered Monday open. Do that every week. And when you are lined up fundamentally, that's going to be the most optimal point for algos to sell, people to take profit and whatnot, and you just go with the flow, right? And say, you know, you don't want to trade off that. Well, wait for your structural breaks, right? Obviously, here and here and here, right? Here and here, we're not the best structural breaks, but, well, guess what? After we close below this low and we again made and let me zoom out here a little bit, let me delete this real quick. Once we close below this low, well, you guys, I've taught you this, guys. This is market structure 101, right? What are we doing, right? If we zoom out here, right? Swing high. Oh, let me bring this out here. Swing high, right? Swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, right? So it's obviously fractalization. You guys know this concept, but like, you get the point, right? Once we close below this low strongly, this is going to be, you know, our confirmation, our break of structure, right? Essentially like this, right? Like if we, you know, use this low, we condense all these lows right into one, right? Let's just use this. Well, this is kind of what it looks like, and I have a knack for these things, so I'm kind of able to generalize it. But yeah, like I said, this is going to be our break of structure right here, right? Boom. And then actually, let me maybe make it with a line a little bit better, like this. Boom, BOS, right? Simple. And then once we have that BOS, you wait for an internal retrace, right? And you could have made money on this leg going down like this. Just that little leg was your way to make a shit ton of money. All right, just this little amount. And then, yeah, that's really it, guys. So hope that made sense. All right, man. And like always, just drop a question, leave a comment. It means a lot. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.